Okay, I gotta remember how to do all this. Hey gang, hello, hello. How's it going? Here we are. I got my socks. We're doing okay. Green capture. Can I get it in one? Did I get it in one? Wow. Guys, we're learning. I can be taught. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think this is worthy of a celebration. I don't know of what, but we'll find something. Hello everybody, this is Lynn today. May is working now as the resident mod. I did have to have socks. My little ones with the skulls on them were dry, so I just put those on. Hello Ozzy, my darling, how have you been? How is settling in? For those of you asking questions in the chat, this is not an astrology stream. No, this is an astrology stream. My bad. This is not a tarot stream. But if you stick around until the end, I do book scrying or bibliomancy, where you ask me a question and I find you the answer in a book. Not quite so in-depth necessarily as tarot, but you are welcome to stay and ask your questions at the end. May says, hello to Ozzy from YouTube. Hello, Willie. Hello, Doji. It's good to see everybody. Bandcamp is over. You're free. Congratulations. I hope you had fun, though. Birthday cake. I love, that's my favorite thing to make. After 3 years of working in bakeries, birthday cakes are still my favorite. Hey, Brune. Hello, everybody. What kind of birthday cake are you making, Oz? So confused by your schedule. Why? I come on Sundays at 11 my time every Sunday. What? We hop around a lot, but we're pretty standard. We have one late night tarot so that our friends on the West Coast or out in Oceania can join. And then we've got 2 at the other times. Good morning, blood type. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. On Twitch, it says an hour ago, and on YouTube, it says in an hour. Who the hell knows? That's a good point, though. We'll look at it later. Good morning, good morning. Hello, good afternoon, Doji. Yeah, so. For those of you just joining us today, possibly for the first time for astrology, or... Yeah, it could be because of the time zones. I don't know, one time zone could be set to one thing, and another could be set to another. Hell, who the heck knows? I wonder if your Twitch schedule still says Astro at 10. It might still say, because I started at 10 for a while, but then I realized that, I couldn't do 10. Like, it just... There's something about the one extra hour between 10 and 11 does it for me and makes me able to do this. There we go. Alright, Brune, so we have a to-do fix that has just been added from Lady Lapine over on the YouTube side, so we will get that fixed between now and then. Thank you for letting us know. Anyway, so welcome to the weekly the weekly astrology stream. I come on Sundays. We'll walk about and take you through a quick stroll of the astrology for the week that is upcoming. This is not a tarot stream. However, for those of you who would like to ask questions, if you hang on until after I get through the week, once we're done with that, we switch to something called bibliomancy, where I go through and I flip through. You ask me a question, I find it in a book for you. It might not be as in-depth as tarot is sometimes, but people seem to like it, so. I accidentally touched the stream. Can I clarify when you asked her? Not specific to signs. Yes, so this is more of the collective kind of thing, Brune. What you want to do as you follow along, I can play with dice today. What you want to do as you follow along, if you want, would be to pull up your own birth chart. I'm going to be mentioning specific signs where the planets are. You look at where those planets are in that sign, or no, you look at where that sign is in your chart, and you see which house it might be in, what it might be affecting that way. Hello, hello. I can, yes, we can play with dice today. I just answered that, I just now remember. Accidentally touched the screen and it switched the stream. Yeah, it might just be like a you slid your finger too far or something when you switch the screen or stream on accident. Okay, so. So Brune, if you want to follow along with your own personal chart, and if you type in exclamation my chart, you can put it in this way. It looks like this. Yeah, so. Nope. I swear I can type. There. I did it. I did it, guys. I can type. Okay, you're lost. Gonna get the general idea for this coming week when you mention it. There you go. That's the spirit. That's kind of what we're looking at. So basically what happens, and we can talk about this more later, or maybe this could be, excuse me, a video of my own at some point later, is how to follow along exactly. But generally, if you just kind of follow along for the vibes this week, that'll get you a pretty good idea of what's going on, even if maybe you don't know what time you were born or you don't know quite all the intricacies of all of your chart or anything like that. It's okay. Not the end of the world. You'll get the vibe. And then, you know, some aspects are going to affect people more than others, depending on how many, like, connections they might be making to their birth chart. But even if you don't know all of those intricacies, it can still be, like, when I got back into astrology and I started listening to these kinds of things, it was still a very nice heads up. Right? So that's how I look at it. Alright, we are 7 minutes in. We don't have, I mean, there's a fair amount going on, but it's not like it was last week. So hopefully this will be a little bit better. Because last week, oh my god, last week. Like, nothing was bad, but ooh, it was everything, wasn't it? I know I spent the entire week chipping away at that list of everything that was going on last week. If there's something happening to Pisces, can you draw my attention, please? Yes. Brune, what I want you to do... Well, you have Cancer... Pisces. You've got stuff making a trine. Brune, what I want you to do, if you're up for it, is tell me in an email your birth time and location, if you want. And I can tell you, like, the big signs you want to listen for. Because it's not just going to be your sun, you want to listen for your rising and your moon, too, especially. Thank you, darling. Yeah. And then that way, if you want, either you can go back and listen to this one, or next week you'll be a little better prepared to hear for, like, key things, right? So, it's like your birthday, year, and time, if you have it, and then the location that you were born. Just email it to me. Hey, Lils, how you doing, honey? I did it. Don't talk to you. Well, maybe not this time. No, you're fine. The worst case scenario, Brune, is I write your birthday down and I just remember it. And I tell you happy birthday when it's your birthday. Last 2 weeks kicked your butt emotionally. Yeah, I bet. We are in the thick of eclipse season now, my guys. I wanted to warn everybody. Yes, we are in the thick of eclipse season right now. We just had that big solar eclipse that went through Europe. That was in Leo. Right? It was with the south node down in Leo. We had a whole bunch of stuff. Jupiter's in Leo. Mercury was in Leo. Everything just a little Leo stellium with an eclipse in it. Don't worry about it. Facing across the way from Aquarius in Pluto. And the purpose of that eclipse, by and large, was to help us realize or identify maybe what parts of ourselves we've been hiding because we were ashamed by it, perhaps. Like maybe it's something that you got teased about when you were little or something like that, right? Or there's just some part of you that you don't know that you're like, maybe this isn't something that I should express. Maybe my friends or my family or like just society writ large, maybe they won't accept that of me. And this was the lesson of like, we wanted to take those parts of ourselves, right? And we wanted to learn how to apply it, embrace it, right? And then work towards using it for the greater good, as it were. Because, like, if it's maybe, I don't know, maybe you were a really funny kid and you got teased about I don't know, something, and you just were like, well, I'm just gonna be serious for forever, right? And then it's like, no, humor helps, right? And so we want to do that. We want to find our gifts, our talents, where we shine, right? Leo in the chart is where you, not the only place, but it is one of the places where you shine. And we want to identify that and use it, right? So for me, my Leo, I'm a Gemini rising. My Leo is in the 3rd house. That's the house of communication, daily habits, what have you, right? And I am a pretty solid speaker, I'd like to think. I get a little tongue-tied, but I know for definite that I'm a good writer. But I've had events over the years that have just kind of built up, and it's like, maybe I won't do anything with that, right? And so, you know, it's learning to like, no, I should do this, right? It's 11:11 here, guys. Make a wish, right? So just things like that, right? Where have we been hiding ourselves, where we want to reveal ourselves, where we can shine, where we can let ourselves, actually, you know what, this isn't cringe. Cringe is dead. Let's let this shine. And not for the applause necessarily, but just to like be more authentic to yourself so that you can better be a part of the world. So that, yeah, if the last couple of weeks have been kicking your butt, if the last couple of weeks have been wild, if everything feels like it's on fast forward, if it feels like you don't have any control of anything right now, that is it. Eclipse season being eclipse season. You can, like I said, when the eclipse hit, like you can manifest if you want to, but by and large, what eclipse seasons do are serve as a bit of a fast forward or a reroute, right? Things happen as a whirl. You might wish for something, you might get it, but it might not come to you the way that you think it does, or you may just be completely like, the cosmos may reach down, grab your head, and turn you 90 degrees, right? Like you might just get a complete reroute. So with the eclipse seasons as they are, usually I recommend you work with them. Like you just, but this is, and I say you want to work with all of it, right? But you want to be open as opposed to saying necessarily like, I want this to happen. What we want to do during eclipse seasons is go, okay, universe, this is what I want. Now, what do you want? Right? And you listen to that. And you give it consideration and you act accordingly. So that's kind of eclipse seasons. They're a lot. They're a lot. Explain something to me I didn't know I needed explaining that made me see things. Oh, I'm glad I can help, Brune. I'm glad that that helps. Hey, Yandere. Yeah, so eclipse seasons are hard. Mostly, not even because they're just hard, but just because they're fast, right? Any notes for Leo in the 12th regards to eclipse? What shadow aspects of yourself are you hiding that you might be embarrassed about? Like, this can be like your spiritual side, this can be anything mentally, this can be things like that. Is there something that you're embarrassed about that you need to be applying? That you know that you're good at? Right? Something like that. May is here, Brune. May is on the YouTube side. May. Brune says hello. So yeah, look at the themes of the 12th house. Consider like what you might be about, like not the hidden enemies part. Like we're not gonna just like, oh, let's be hidden enemies, right? No, we're gonna look at like, how do I say? You know, you want to look at the more positive aspects, right? The South Node is in Leo. We are trying to let go of those more negative aspects, right? So the secrets and stuff we don't want to keep, but there are positive aspects to the 12th house, and you want to look at those themes, the positive themes, and then see, okay, this is something that has happened to me based off of this. This is what I need to be working on. Right. May says hi, Bryn. Someday my life won't blow up on a Sunday morning. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Yandere. Alright, let's get going. So that was eclipse season. So by and large, what I was trying to say is that if you are tired, there's a reason. Eclipse seasons are about 5 to 6 weeks. We're in the middle of it. They start the full moon, like a full moon cycle before the first eclipse. Then you have the eclipses. There's 2. You have a solar eclipse and then a lunar eclipse usually. And then the moon cycle finishes and then we're out. So we are almost there. Well, no, we're not almost there. I lied. We're in the middle of it. But we're in the middle of it. It's only up from here. So hang on. If you're tired, rest. I cannot emphasize this enough. Please rest, right? It is okay to be tired. There's a lot going on for all of us. So, let's get going. So we had, it's okay to be tired. We're in eclipse season. I was going to say there's a lot of the have the grown-up talk kind of feeling in here this week. So if anyone has to have a hard conversation, there's going to be room for that. But there also, I'm not trying to be, ooh, everything's scary, but there's a couple of squares going on today that, or this week, that kind of raised a flag. So I'm thinking with those squares, like if you can't think of any kind of conversation that needs to happen right now, you might find it. Right? Feed your Delulu? Absolutely. Let's feed your Delulu. May all your Delulu become Trululu. Right? I posted that a couple of weeks ago on the Discord. Alright. So, might get some news with that forces that hard conversation. But those squares, we want to be careful with. Just because, I went way more in depth with these squares than I usually do, just because there's so much else around it going, please have the hard talk. Yes, that's fine, but I need you to stop and think before you have that hard talk, right? So yesterday, our dear boy, or at least my boy, Mercury, went conjunct to Jupiter. We had a lot of big plans. We weren't forgetting the details. We're still kind of feeling it. They're still pretty tightly together, so you're still going to be feeling it. It's a very optimistic kind of aspect. I like Mercury. I like Jupiter. Jupiter's known as the benefic, right? Mercury generally is more neutral. He's not a benefic or a malefic necessarily. He's kind of just the MSG of the planets, right? So he just accentuates the flavor, right? So there was big plans. We weren't forgetting the details. We were being careful not to forget the details. It was optimistic. It was fun. My little goofball just getting magnified by Jupiter. At 10 degrees, it's Capricorn degree, so there was some structure that you can work with. Yep. So this was a time for just, hey, make a big plan. Plan to live a little, do something, right? And then later on, tomorrow actually, where he's going to be trining Saturn to help you find the framework for those big plans that you might have made, in the last few days, or you might make in another day or two. There's nothing really major going on today. We have this little sextile right here between Jupiter and the moon. That'll only be for a few hours, but you might be feeling pretty good right now. We still have this sextile open. This is our magical girl transformation that we've been having. This has not gone exact just yet. That happens tomorrow. Ad break. Back. Okay. That was quick. What did that ad say, hey? And then it was done? Okay. So, let's look at tomorrow. We have this square that did raise an alarm. Mostly, thinking about the houses that they're in. I'm not really, I'm not scared, but it's something that I want to be aware of. Which turbo song, and then it ended. Well, I'm glad it was over quick. So we have this pretty tight square. It goes exact tomorrow, between Neptune retrograde and Mars. And the reason that I'm worried about this is just because I don't like Mars in Cancer as a general placement. It's tough. If it's used well, that's great. Right, it's a good, you're very protective, you're very loving, you're very concerned about keeping your house and home safe, and that's great. But the shadow side of it is so difficult to deal with, right? It's manipulative, it's you take advantage of people, it's passive aggressive, it's needy, it's just really hard for me. So it's tough, right? So with this square, I just wanted to be aware because I warned everybody that Mars in Cancer is a little more reactionary, right? It's protective. It's going to want to protect. If he senses any kind of disturbance with house and home and the things that you love the most, he will step in. He will drive you to lash out. And Neptune retrograde, Neptune is already a bit of a veil, right? Sometimes he's hard to like see through. There's like, it's fun. He's imaginative. He's creative. He's open to being open. He's a loving planet. Like Neptune's a loving guy. Like I like Neptune, but he makes it hard sometimes to be able to tell apart, you know, what's true and what's false, right? So with Neptune being in retrograde, sometimes that can make the rose-colored glasses come off and you can see a situation for what it really is. But also sometimes that little veil that you have to squint through becomes a full-on like velvet curtain that is, you know, blackout level, right? Like you can't see for anything. So what I'm worried about is that maybe that curtain comes down, right? We don't want that curtain to come down and then Mars, like we don't get all the information, but we get something that scares us. And then we go, oh shit, I have to do something right now, right? So this is one of the over-emotionality kind of aspects to Mars that I was warning about when Mars did go in, or Mars in Cancer, when Mars did go into Cancer, right? The square can just put some extra fuel on that fire of jumping the gun and lashing out based on emotion and perceived threats when you might not have all of the information, right? This is your warning to check yourself before you wreck yourself, as it were. This is an alignment where there's a lot of room to act out on a misunderstanding. And by the time you realized what's happened, there's already been damage done to the relationship, the trust, right? Like something has been eroded a little bit. Now, we have some more supportive aspects happening around this, but I want to address this as it is. And you may be feeling this square more than others. You may be feeling the more benefic placements more than the square. It all really depends on like how things are lining up in your own personal chart. But as a general, right, just as a warning, let's look at the square by itself, right? I'll talk about the supportive aspects and how it might help along, but let's look at the square by itself, just because I don't like this one much, guys. Like it's fine. Nothing is ever inherently bad in astrology. I just don't like this one. So Neptune is in retrograde. Like I said, this can make things clearer, like the veil coming off, or it can make that veil a blackout curtain. The square feels a little like a flash in the pan to me, right? Suddenly your eyes are covered, peekaboo, guess who, right? You can't see what's going on, but Mars is connected to the deepest part of your person, and you're called to act even if you don't know what's going on, right? Something or someone close to you may seem to be in danger, or something else that urges you to act to protect, right? But the catch is you may not fully know why. So remember to breathe, make sure that you have all of the facts, or as many of them as you can before you proceed, and that you truly understand them, right? If you get all of your ducks in a row before you act like this, as long as you understand the information presented to you, even though some things may still be a little bit yet to be determined, your intuition, because Neptune also rules intuition, but if you get everything together, your intuition can probably take it from there, right? Misunderstandings, though, between you and others are very easy here, and there's a lot of emotional volatility. So on the one hand, you could feel the need to act right away, or just the urge to explode at somebody in anger. But on the other, you couldn't care less, right? Like, I'm really upset about this, but I'm not sure why, but also I don't give a crap, right? Like, just that kind of mixed feeling. And then if you feel angry about something, you might feel guilt for feeling that way, or just feeling something the wrong way. You could feel like your happiness is inappropriate. You could be upset that you're angry about that situation, anything like that. We want to be careful before we agree to things, and we want to keep our plans a little bit flexible, right? We want to take time making our decisions. Do not let people push you. Buen dia, Ellie. Galactic basket in the sky slowly disintegrating. I can't see it. Yeah, it's moving out. We've still got some things happening, but like the galactic basket is fading, but we've still got some really strong aspects coming up in the future. The galactic basket was to put things into the basket, and now we're letting those things cook. Right? So, with this square, we want to be careful, right? But the warnings that I want to give you before we proceed include: do not act until you can see the full picture. We want to know when to walk away for a little while to breathe if you need to. If you feel yourself getting angry, remember, I think we talked about it last week. it's okay to go put yourself in a little timeout for a few minutes to collect your thoughts, think before you speak, you know, make an appropriate decision as the situation calls for it, right? It's yeah, and this is not a good time to take too much of a risk, right? Yep. We gotta let the stars cook, Willie. It's a skillet now. I've decreed. Whatever this mess is, whatever this is, it's a skillet now. We frying. Them eggs is frying. So we want to make sure we have the full picture. We want to know when to take a break. If we start getting too heated about something, we need to know when to tap out. Someone may try to make you act without having a full idea of what you're agreeing to. We do not want to let ourselves be misled, nor do we want to mislead. Right? We don't want to be deceptive. We want to be open and honest. But the stars are ripe for people to try to misguide somebody, to make something seem more dire than it is, and call them to act when it's not the time. You have to listen to the beginning. I hope folks are hanging in there. Yes, it's hard. I don't think I don't think May's on Twitch right now, so I'll read it to her. So May from Brune, he says, I don't know if you can see this chat as well, but today I was so close to getting another reading. The energy Lynn mentioned earlier was making me feel like I'm losing control. Yeah, that's just eclipse season for you, honey. It's a mess. Like, it's good. Ultimately, the outcome should be positive. The sky is leading us the right way, but in the moment, it gets pretty stressful. I hope to be back before the live is over. Take care of yourself, Yandere. If you need any follow-up questions or anything, just message me in the Discord. I'm happy to help. If you've got to step away, just take care of what you need to, honey. Don't worry. We do not want to be misled, and we do not want to mislead. With Cancer activity, this could be especially relevant for the relationships that are closest to us, like family. We want to watch out for confusing motives. We want to watch out for passive aggression. We want to watch out for letting guilt or regret make a decision. Right? We don't want to do something just because we feel bad. So May and I have this picture that we keep hanging up on our wall because we're both people pleasers by default. And it just reminds us of how silly it is sometimes. We found it in a magazine from, like, I don't know, the 80s. I don't know. It's really funny though. It makes us happy. And it's this just pretty old school, like, font. It looks like a poster, and it says, I should say no, but I feel bad. We want to be able to say no if we need to. So, right? We want to be able to say no if we need to. Willie Bug, I just applied an online job early and then backed out because I had a feeling. Turns out it was a scam. Exactly. So you were about to apply to the online job, you dug around a little bit, and you went, oh, wait, nope, this is wrong, right? So you got the information, you listened to the feeling, you didn't act right away, I'm sure, but, like, you had a feeling. It's a magazine from 2016? Oh, nice. I thought it was older than that. We need to put that picture back up, I miss it. I'm doing an Aspiration because life. Yeah, huge mood, Willie. Mars in Cancer is a sore spot for a lot of people this week. Yes, Mars in Cancer is going to be kind of a sore spot for the next 6 weeks, but especially this week, right? We'll be feeling this for a couple of days. So, yeah, we want to watch out, especially from those close to us, right? The people who matter most, those kinds of things, right? We don't want anyone to guilt trip us. We don't want to have to deal with any passive aggression, and we don't want to give people the same, right? So if you start feeling frustrated or you start feeling like you should do something to that effect, step back, take a break, and get back to it later. Right? Let's be careful. We need to take time to pause and process. I cannot emphasize this enough. We want to pause and process. We want to take care of ourselves. Hey, Boba. How you doing, hun? Everybody's getting their butts kicked from eclipse season. How you hanging in? All right. So also, while this is happening, so this square sucks. I don't like it. It doesn't suck. Nothing is inherently bad in astrology. I just don't like it. But while this is also happening, we have, well, this is cute for a couple hours, the moon and Lilith working together. I like that. Mercury and Leo reaching over to make that trine with Saturn. Remember, we had that conjunction a couple of days ago with Mercury, well, yesterday, with Mercury and Jupiter. We might have had a fun idea or something. Now this is the time to take that fun idea, see if it's practical, and if we still want to do it, how are we going to get there? Right? Kept hearing a song today. That song was It's Always Darkest Before the... Is it Shake It Off by Florence and the Machine? Because, yeah, that line runs through my head all the time, too. That's just realizing a remote controller won't work for every brand of electronic. Wouldn't it be nice if they did, though, Parla? That'd be so nice if I could just have a remote controller for everything. So, while we have this square happening, we've got a couple of things happening to help mitigate it. We want to use this trine with Saturn to take that time to plan any of those things that we had these big lofty goals for back with yesterday with the conjunction. But it's also just support to help that square that we were talking about. Saturn can help Mercury slow down. Mercury is notorious for not being able to slow down. So he can help him slow down and really think. This will help us find our words that we need to find before we start getting manipulative or start being manipulated, right? It can help us find the questions that we need to be asking. So this can help clear up some of the haze in that conversation, but the trick is you have to ask the questions. You have to ask for clarification, and you have to have that conversation. Mercury rules communication. We are supposed to use our words. So use those words, have that conversation, and Saturn should help you pull back some of that curtain that Neptune may be trying to pull over you. Right? Cancer in the 11th house with Venus and Vesta. Yeah, Cancer in the 11th would be kind of hard to wrestle with this one right now too, because not only is that talking about your family and stuff, that's extending out to like your network, right? So be careful. So Saturn should help you try to pull back some of that curtain, help you try to make sense of a situation. This aspect, this trine, should help with the double checking that you need to be doing right now to make sure you have all of the information. And if this were a standalone sextile, like if this were what I was talking about and this was the only thing happening that day, this would be a good time to agree to plans or negotiating or maybe plan some kind of trip or something. But with the square above, I would say personally to hold off just a little bit, unless your intuition says go, right? Like if you work through it and you do the research and your intuition says, hey, let's plan, okay, go for it. But this helps thinking to be more practical in general. You're willing to cross your T's and dot your I's and choose words wisely so that you are better understood and are better able to understand those around you. Right? So, now, in a distance, no, that's not the word. In addition, wow, hi. In addition, we also have Venus over here in Libra, making a sextile to Jupiter. And this one's sweet too. Like this one's a little serious. This is helping you find your words, but this is like softening some of this. Generally speaking, if this was all that was happening that day, tomorrow, man, what a good day. But this is just kind of, we want to be careful. We just want to be aware, right? So Venus in Libra sextile Jupiter in Leo. These are both at 10 degrees, which is a Capricorn degree. So girl boss alert. Hopefully this will smooth out some of the square too. It'll add some emotion, it'll add some feeling, and it'll add some sympathy, right? So this should be socially lucky. Plans might come together fairly easily, or you might feel more comfortable giving and receiving compliments for a couple of days, right? There might be favors, there might be connections, you know, that you make at this time. And in general, you may feel more appreciated for being truly you. I don't want to say don't fall for any little thing, but like, be careful. Accept your compliments wisely, right? But generally speaking, right, if people have good intentions, they have good intentions, you should take the compliment, right? We just don't want to be gaslit. Without that square, or perhaps even if you're just feeling it less, because sometimes it's not really activating anything, right? Like if you don't have much going on in that chart, or if it's not really aspecting things, it might not have such a strong effect on you. So if you're feeling it less, this could be one of those right place, right time kind of alignments that we keep seeming to have. Like we had it with the bar bolts basket, we had it with another basket, right? It was a good week. It was a good couple of weeks to be seen. And this is just another one of those kinds of little aspects, right? You might get an invite that puts you in front of someone that you need to know. That person can help you get somewhere that you want to go, but please be careful with that square of any potential misinformation or manipulation. Get all of the facts before you proceed, right? Theoretically, things should feel generous, open, and mutually exciting. Like the other person should be excited about it too, right? Jupiter in Leo loves big gestures of affection, and Venus in Libra just loves people. So this is a very sweet alignment. I really like it. But be careful not to overspend or overpromise, as always with these two. Hydrate, absolutely, thank you. Hey Drum, how you doing? We are in astrology today. This is Lynn. May is in the chat as the resident mod. How you doing, hon? Okay, so that was this. Now today is, or this week is a little lighter. I was able to get my notes done this morning instead of having to chip away at them for an entire freaking week. On Tuesday, there are no major transits, besides what we've already been feeling. On Wednesday, there are no real major transits, right? We're okay. I did want to point out we still got our little magical girl going. We'll be feeling this for a while. We've got off-center grand trine. It's not accurate, so I will let that one go. But I do want to draw attention really quick. We don't have anything really major, but Lilith is important, so we want to consider her as well. She will be trining the sun. So when she trines the sun, I did a little bit of research, right? There's nothing real major going on today, right? We're feeling it exact on the 20th. So let's take a look here. Yeah, this is better. So 27. So you can tell we'll be feeling it for a couple of days though. You might let some unconventional thoughts take a second to breathe, right? Like you might allow yourself to have that strange thought without necessarily immediately going for correcting yourself. This is a sweet way to send the Leo season off, I think, right? This is a good boost of confidence. This is a good boost of creativity. And I like to call it letting your freak flag fly. You know, just let yourself be weird for a couple of days. This transit to me reads as you do you, especially where things Leo and Sagittarius is related to in your chart. So Lilith might be providing an extra gut check here and there too, so help yourself, or so take heed to your intuition. Lilith is pretty wise too, so I'd say it's okay to at least hear her out, even if you don't necessarily act on it. It's good to, if you get a vibe around the 20th, at least listen to it and consider it, right? You don't have to act, but you can feel safe hearing her out, I think. Butterfly and gust. Yep. What does what mean, Brune? Which part? Lilith does have a different point of view looking at something. Absolutely, Parlous. I look at Lilith as if Venus is the standard feminine, right? Like you think of the divine feminine or whatever you want to call it, you think of Venus, then Lilith isn't inherently the shadow side. I consider Venus to be a bit of a girly girl, and I consider Lilith to be the tomboy. Or the witchy one, depending on where she is and what she's doing, right? She's the unconventional feminine. I don't want to say dark feminine, I don't like that, but she is definitely the unconventional feminine. My Cancer cusps and the 11th are kind of similar. Oh, okay, I'm glad you got it then. Good. Gaelic. That's fun. Parlous, do you speak Gaelic? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so. Just let yourself be weird. Let yourself have some funny ideas. Wiggle award. Yeah, we're wiggling. We're wiggling. Numerology. I don't do a whole heck of a lot with numerology, but I'm happy to help you look. I'm definitely willing to give it consideration, but I just haven't really had time to really dig into it too deeply, but I'm happy to help you look. We're good here. We're gonna look at the 21st, because this is the day that another square or opposition, this is the other one that I'm like, I don't know about this, guys. Get a sensation, this isn't the character most. Let's see. Okay, so we are on the 21st, which is Friday. This is the other big warning that I want to have. There's there's some stuff happening around it that might help, right? This is nice. This is harmonious. We've got Venus exiling the moon for a few hours to kind of keep you balanced. The moon is reaching over to Saturn for a few hours. That's kind of acting as like the mitigator for all of this, right? And then we have the kite. So this is making a kite pattern. When kite patterns are here, we're pushing towards Saturn. So this is calling for more Saturnian effects, right? We leverage. We have, in this kite, we have Jupiter. We have, just for a few hours, we have the moon, and then we have Venus. Let's use that for a few hours to kind of balance out our Saturnian side, right? A curious observation to make? Yes. What is it? A red line is harsh. Yes, this is Saturn retrograde opposite Venus. Virgo and Pisces keep getting dodged by any direct lines. They are only like passed by. Virgo and Pisces have been through it for the last 2 or 3 years, Brune. I can give you a little bit of a recap. So we have the North Node and the South Node. They have spent the last 18 months going through Virgo and Pisces. We were having full moons in Virgo. We were having full moons and new moons in both of these signs. We were having eclipses. We are finally, earlier this year, for the last 14 years, Neptune was in Pisces. For the last 2.5 years, Saturn was in Pisces. Everything went through Pisces. It sucked. I would say that Pisces and Virgos are finally getting their break. Right? So we are avoiding them for now. We have earned our break. I know for you too, Brune, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of expansion and stuff and learning and such, right? And the last few years have been hard, so things are finally getting off of our back. If it's been in the last, 2 years or so, yeah, Brune, I'd say so. It could be a lot of that. So, as a Virgo sun, or for those of y'all with Pisces placements, I've got another planet in Virgo, right? Like the nodes are finally getting off of our back, basically. We have one more, because this lunar eclipse is going to happen at the tail end of Pisces, so this is going to be like the culmination of everything, and then there's one more eclipse in Virgo, and then we are in the clear, just because these nodes are so far along. Because these nodes are going to be in Aquarius and Leo. But they're still like baby lamb in these signs, so the moon and the sun may be still a little bit off. So we've got one more eclipse in Pisces, then we're done. And then there's one more something in Virgo. I think it's a full moon in February. Yeah. Sorry, blood type. Aquarius is not inherently going to go through it. Yes. So the North Node and the South Node, when they go through a sign, right, the North Node is going to be reaching for these goals, right? Like the loftier side, the higher octave, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, right? So if you think about Aquarius, you're going to be called to work for the community. You're going to be called to do what's right. You're going to be called to think creatively, come up with innovation, do all of these kinds of things. And the South Node in Leo, right? It's not getting rid of all of your Leo characteristics. It's okay to be proud of yourself and your loved ones. It's okay to want to protect your family. It's okay to be, proud that you can do something, but we don't want to let that pride shift into pride derogatory, right? We don't want to get prideful. We don't want to get selfish, right? So when the nodes go through a sign, it's kind of like a cleanup, basically, right? We're reaching for the Aquarian goals and we're sifting through our pre-given Leo toolkit, right? We are sifting through that toolkit, letting go of the tools that we don't need and finding the ones that we do in order to reach for those aspects of, or the positive aspects of that North Node. Last 3 months, yeah, if everything's at a culmination point, I would say yes. Like the video, oh yeah, probably Aquarius and Leo are gonna have it the worst. Yep. Right now. Hello, JJM, how you doing? I'm confusing myself by asking. I'll let you know. I'll let you do the week and see what I understand by it. Yep. So far, Wednesday are going to be boring. They might not be boring. You'll still be feeling the aspects that we've been talking about, but to lesser extents, I would say. So, in my recap, real quick, while we were talking about it, though, we had Jesus Christ. We had the nodes. It was the North Node in Pisces, and the South Node was in Virgo. So I'll use my chart as an example. I am a Virgo sun. I'm doing all right. Thank you, dear. It's good to have you. Welcome aboard. I am Lynn. You might see me in chat most often as the resident mod, but on Sundays I come on and I do astrology for the week. Hello, chocolates. How you doing? On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Miss May, or Lady Lapine if you want to call her that, is on with tarot. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and also Mondays, she's on with art. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Come hang out. Stay a while. So yes, the aspects are dimmed down. You feel things when they are in their transits most strongly at the beginning and at the end, because at the beginning they're trying to get their feet on under them, right? So like when we have, let's see who's early right now, right? I would still count like the first 5 degrees as kind of early. So we'll use Pluto as an example, right? He's still getting his feet on under him in Aquarius right now. So we might be feeling things a little more explosively. Then as we progress, he kind of settles in a routine. And then if we haven't done the work that we need to be doing, those last 5 degrees are kind of like the final curtain call. Or it's when you like look up and you realize that you have an essay due tomorrow that you haven't even started, right? It's the scramble. It's the last minute trying to tie in all those loose pieces. So I won't say totally that the next 18 months are going to be the worst blood type, but definitely while, and this one is, I don't know why his calculations for the nodes, but these are a little bit laggy. But while we're at 29 to 25, and then when we get down to, I would say 5 to 0 blood type, that is when you will certainly be feeling it the most. Also when they are like conjuncting things. Since it's in the North Node, I think you might have an easier time, but it might not, it won't be all sunshine and roses. There's going to be a lot of growth that happens. AstroSeek, ChartCom, we can get that there. It's a lot. So, all right, let's see. So we were on this square. Now that do we do any more questions about the? Yes, that tends to be how some instructors are heartless. So before we keep going, are there any more questions about the nodes? Are we good? Because we still need to get through this opposition. But I'm tired, Grandpa. I know, honey. I feel it on a deep soul level. Because I just had the South Node go through Virgo, and that just absolutely beat me down. I'm tired too. I feel you, but you can do it. Right? You've got this. And you know you've got this. It's exhausting, but you have this. Just remember to give yourself space and to give yourself time to breathe. So when things get overwhelming, take yourself a half-hour stardew break, reset, start over. Right? So, all right, let's talk about this observation. No, the opposition. Right? So this big streaky red line. We have the good vibes are no longer enough, at least not for a few days. So Venus is relationships, abundance, well-to-do kind of things. Saturn is your structure and your discipline. You want to know that relationships, when Saturn opposes Venus, you want to know that relationships are truly in a balance. And if something is off, it needs to be adjusted. This is not a this will end the relationship, but it is a we need to have a talk. Right? This is another one of those alignments that's like we need to sort things out. Ever practical Saturn. Let me back up. So things should still feel civil. Saturn is a polite man. Venus is a polite lady. So things should still feel civil. I don't expect anything to explode. But relationships might be a little tenser. You might feel a little cooler than usual for a couple of days. Things might feel a little bit more distant. Not necessarily a bad amount, but a fair amount. Like you might a little more what is the word? Objective. But what's happening is that ever practical Saturn is making this time a check-in on the state of things to see who is responsible for what and making sure that things in the relationship are even. And this does not have to only involve romantic relationships. This can involve family, this can involve work partners, this can involve friends, anybody that you know. You have a relationship with them, right? And we want to make sure that that relationship is even Stevens. So the thing with Venus is that she loves to keep the peace. She loves to just say yes, to keep things quiet, and this is fine. But as a result, she can sometimes over-agree to things to keep everyone happy. And this is okay to do once in a while. Like if someone's having a hard time and you need to do a little extra, that's fine. That's not a big deal. But after too long, if you keep doing it, it becomes unhealthy. The person that you're doing the extra thing for just kind of takes it for granted that you can do that, right? And you might not be, or you might be overworking yourself, right? This kind of thing can become unhealthy. So she's fine on the outside, Venus is, but she might be doing things like being frustrated and bottling up that resentment, or she might be overextending, to help others, and as a result, neglecting herself, right? Like she might not be taking care of herself right. She might not be sleeping enough, all kinds of things like that. And this can lead to burnout. So what Saturn's doing is going, hey honey, are you good? Are you good? Right? Can we check to make sure that you're good? Because I'm worried about you, right? And this is where Saturn gets the bad rap as being mean, but really he just wants to make sure that you're okay. Right? So, right, he just wants to make sure you're good. He wants to make sure that you're not burning yourself out. So, if this is you, if you have been overgiving, if you have been overextending, this is a good time to check in and have the grown-up talks about things like shared responsibilities, time and priorities, and finances. Like I said just a bit ago, this can be with your romantic partner, this can be with your family, it can be with your coworkers, it does not matter. Where you need to have these types of discussions, now is a good time, as long as you come to that discussion prepared, right? We want to come with our little notes about, hey, this is what's happening, this is how I'm feeling about it, what can we do to fix it, right? If we need to do that. We want to be willing to say what you need and what you expect, and please don't fall into Venus's trap of saying yes to something just because it makes something easier for everyone else. Again, sometimes doing this once in a while is okay, but we can't make it a habit because it eats at us, and I am speaking from experience, right? We don't want to be the giving tree. We don't want to overgive. We need to have the balance, and that's what so much of astrology is. Like we had that square earlier this week, but there was stuff to balance it, to help it make it easier, right? So right now, if we have to have this conversation, we've got the moon. She's got our back. We can have our emotions in line, right? To have this difficult conversation if we need to, or really tap into how we're feeling so that we can better find our words, right? Mercury's getting close to the sun. That'll help our words along, right? So this is supporting this opposition. It's helping out. Solid relationships, as long as you're good, you're going to be fine, right? If the foundation is sturdy, you might just be updating some of the structural frames, right? Like if you need to have this conversation and you two are solid as a rock, that's fine. It's not going to hurt anybody. A good relationship can manage this, and usually pretty easily, because the other person has your best interest in mind, right? So if you come in and you say, hey, I don't feel well because I think I'm doing too much of this, in a good relationship, they'll be like, oh shit, how do we fix this, right? What can I do to help, right? And we find a balance, we compromise. So you should be fine. This is okay. Saturn really is just he seems mean on the outside, but really he just has your best interests in mind, right? So warnings though, let's be careful. We don't want to be nice on the surface and not be secretly keeping a tally, right? We don't want to build up a resentment. We don't want to pretend things are fine when they're not. If something feels wrong, we say so. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. That is something that I got raised with that I am giving to you. You can say whatever you need to, as long as you say it clearly and with respect, right? We're not attacking people. We're not doing this. We're being objective. We're not, if there is no need to place blame, we are not placing blame. This is the problem. This is how I'm feeling. Can we do something about it, right? It is not what you say. It is how you say it. We don't want to walk into a discussion looking for a fight. We approach the conversation with grace and a willingness to compromise without being a doormat, and we will be fine. We want to watch out, though, for rejection sensitivity. And remember that just because someone says no to something or they seem a little more distant than usual, it doesn't automatically mean that they hate you, right? They might just be processing. They could just be having a bad day. They could need to think about things, and that's okay. But with that rejection sensitivity, too, if someone is having a bad day, if they're not being so aware of the word, someone could say something, or you could just be feeling a little bit extra self-conscious in general. But we don't want to take this as judgment. I read on one of my things, quote, treat this as information, not a verdict. This is not speaking to your character. This is speaking to a part of your character, right? Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, if you think about it and you realize maybe that person just doesn't, maybe that person just doesn't get it, or maybe that person's projecting, or maybe that person, you're like, like you have to treat it as information. It is not an entire verdict on you. Let's see. Carry bonbons. Caregiver can only so much. Yeah, it's hard not to overgive when there's simply so much to do. Exactly. When you love to take care of everybody, don't forget that everybody includes you. Amen, Willie. Oh my God. With clarity and respect to the confectionery. Yes, and sensitivity. What did I say? Information, not a verdict. Best sensitivity. Where's sensitivity? Rejection sensitivity. Rune. So, here, I'll type it in. Rejection sensitivity. That's when you get extra sensitive to someone says no and you freak out and you think that they hate you and you have a whole panic attack or something, right? We want to be careful to avoid that as much as possible. Or if you feel it, you can be aware. Right. No, you're okay, hon. I'm glad you're inspired. I appreciate it. Alright, and the last big thing. Where are we going? Ooh, big stretch. Hold tight. Healing is, I'm so proud of you, Brune, but remember that healing isn't linear. Sometimes a bruise can still be tapped, and we want to be careful of that. And like, if we realize it, right, we can use that to our advantage. Okay, so this is saying technically for the August 23rd, depending on where you are. It could be on the 23rd or the 22nd, but happy Virgo season to my fellow Virgo sons. Hip hip hooray. So, if we stepped into the spotlight for something with Leo, and or are just kind of having a big time with Leo season, now is the time to step back a little bit and start applying to some practicality to things again, right? I will tell you right now, Virgo is not a Debbie Downer. I have some unconventional attitudes towards some of these signs, and I am not simply being defensive of Virgo because I am a Virgo Sun and a Virgo Jupiter. That is part of it, but not the only reason. Virgo is not a Debbie Downer, and I will throw hands. Yes, that is a triangle. That is a grand Earth triangle for a brief moment with the moon and with Chiron and with the sun. Emotions, vulnerability, and your core self working together. Rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season. If you don't love a Virgo, you miss out. Thank you, Brune. So, Virgo is not a Debbie Downer. I cannot emphasize this enough. Her humor comes from observation. It is not always from being the one taking the action. She watches. There's a little mischievous glint in her eyes. I read that, Gemini is the class clown, right? He'll say things. He's quick. He's fast. Virgo is watching. And then when you least expect it, she comes at you with the joke, right? Virgo is Gemini's twin. She sees things people don't notice, and she's Mercury dominant. She is a goofball at heart, at her very core. She just wants her ducks in a row before she makes the joke. She wants the ducks in a row before she lets herself laugh. But once things are handled, she's pretty funny. You have to listen to her to notice, though. She has a bit of the Saturn deadpan humor streak. And you might not hear the joke if you just listen at the surface level. Right? Can you do the same explanation for Pisces, please? Pisces gets a bad rap as a crybaby, and I tease Pisceses for being crybabies, but I love them dearly. They are my opposite sign, so I got a soft spot for the fish. I enjoy the fish. They're good friends. Very in tune with themselves. Very open, very loving. But they're crybabies, but they're my favorite crybabies. How's that? That's my summary for Pisces. So Virgo's a goofball at the very core of it when she feels comfortable enough to be so. In the southern hemisphere, this ties in nicely for me with spring cleaning and the idea with Virgo season. The sun isn't here yet, but the sun isn't in Virgo yet, but I'm kind of starting to feel it, right? I spent yesterday pretty much all day cleaning up and reorganizing our altars and magical supplies. I really wanted to try to finish the last birth chart I have on my to-do list, but I just reorganized all the altars and stuff instead. Oopsie. So we'll kind of be feeling that, right? If you're in the southern hemisphere, spring cleaning. She's good at tapping to ask for help with these types of tasks. For my northern hemisphere folks, now is about the harvest. You planted the seeds, you had a good time and enjoyed the summer while everything grew. Now it's time to literally reap what you've sown, right? In real life applications, since not many of us have agriculture jobs anymore, like obviously if you have a garden, go get your stuff, right? You grew it, you earned it. But for the more metaphorical side of things, this is taking care of your to-do lists, this is straightening up your house, this is looking at your processes to see how you can streamline them, make them easier for yourself, right? So that you can laugh, you can enjoy things, you don't have to stress out, and you can see what else can be done for general improvement. But don't forget to stop and take care of yourself too. Virgo is another one of the giving trees. We don't want to overextend ourselves. Virgo is known for being pedantic and inflexible for whatever the heck reason. But that's more of a shadow aspect, right? She's very, actually, if she gets too uncontained, right? Or if she gets too out of herself, right? But she's also prone to giving entirely too much of herself to others and forgetting to take care of herself, right? So I was reading up on Virgo moons and I was like, oh yeah, they could be really tidy, or they could be this, that, and the other. And I was doing it for a reading for someone that I knew was not a particularly tidy person. And then I found it. And it's that they'd spend so much time taking care of others' people, they forget to clean up their own. Like they will go to someone else's house and wash the dishes and then forget to do their own. Or simply not be able to do their own, right? Like, so that is part of the shadowy side of Virgo, is that they forget, the balance becomes off. We're still feeling this opposition right here. It's not exact anymore, but like we're still feeling this opposition. We want to address these problems with overgiving and overextending and making sure everything is balanced, and that will help us with Virgo season. We love fish. Gotta get that omega-3 in your system. We are crybabies only with people we are comfortable with. Yes, the Pisces is my crybaby fish that I love dearly. However, that Pisces knows how to be a shark if they need to be. Did that with my supply factor. Recap of the week, but for Pisces. Let me look at your information. I'm gonna probably be looking less at your Pisces parts, and I would be looking more at your rising sign. But we can talk about it. The kudzu potato vine invasion. Yeah, kudzu's ferocious. All right, so that is our week ahead for the general stuff. We want to find the right place at the right time and be careful not to get taken advantage of. We're reassessing our relationships and making sure that everything is even and shared and not no one's getting taken advantage of, right? Like that's pretty much it. We're just trying to make sure that we're all getting what we deserve, and we are giving each our loved ones what they deserve as well. Virgo, best partner will pay attention to whatever you say and surprised by remember what you want 6 months ago. Yes. So as a Virgo, thank you, Brune. I will look at your birth stuff after we get off of stream. It's okay, baby. You're fine. yeah. So Virgo, we pay attention, right? That's the whole thing with Virgo, is that we pay attention. Gemini gets scattered. Gemini is fast. He's quick. He's interested in a lot of things. Virgo has all of these aspects, but the thing with Virgo is that she is a little more still, right? And so she pays attention. And if with gift giving, she'll hear something that I do, or at least I did when I had the bandwidth to do so, is I kept a list. I would listen to what people said that they want over the course of the year. Like, truly, I would listen for things like, I need this to help me with this, or I want this because this, right? Like, I would just like listen for those kind of cues, and then I would write it down. And then Christmas would come around and I would have that list, and I would know what people wanted. I would know what they needed. I miss being able to do that. One of these days I'll do it. All right. So that's our week ahead. Hopefully a little bit of a break from all of the heavy lifting that was eclipse last week. However, we are still in eclipse season. You still may be tired. Please take care of yourself. Yeah, I have a Virgo in me since your bestie is Virgo in the last 3 years. Well, see, the thing, Brune, though, is that, like, even if you didn't have Virgo on you, the fact that your friend was a Virgo and you're a Pisces, what happens is that you balance each other out, right? There's a whole thing with opposites attract, right? Like, some of them get along a little bit better than others. I personally think that Sagittarius and Gemini, and then Virgo and Pisces probably get along best out of the opposites, right? The easiest. But there's definitely an opposites attract aspect to it, because it helps you find the middle. Doesn't sound too heavy of a week, or I'm just optimistic. Next week looks very refreshing. Yeah, just mind that square and that opposition, and then like leverage the stuff happening around it, right? And you should be pretty good to go. You should be pretty good to go. All right, my love. So that is our week. Before I get to the biblios, before we get to the biblioteca, all right, which I have right here. But before we get to this, don't forget to like on the YouTube side. Don't forget to subscribe if you need to. I am here every Sunday with the astrology. And then on the YouTube side, May is here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with tarot. On the Twitch side, she is available every day of the week with either, well, every day of the work week with either tarot or art, depending on the day. If you see that little bar at the bottom, that is, we are trying to make this a sustainable business. That is how much we need every time that we come on stream. This is not a guilt trip. This is just what we are working towards as we grow. If you can, please tip your server. If you go to the Ko-fi page where you tip, there's also a tab that says commissions. You can buy readings, personal private readings from May, where you can either communicate with your spirit guides, or you can talk about other people. Remember that we have the no second person rule in tarot streams because they are extremely draining for Miss May. But if you give us a little forewarning, if you pay, right, it gives us the warning. It kind of weeds out a few of those questions and makes them really matter. And we can prepare the space, and we can prepare her energy for that kind of work. What else is there? As far as birth charts go, I've got one more to do, and then I have a whole book that a friend wants me to edit for them, so I might be a little bit slow on any birth charts, but that is available. And then if you want a quick option, I have these bibliomancy readings available now anytime for a little $5 purchase. So that is what we have. Here we are. Hello. Hello, hello. You are a Sag? Very fun. I love Sag. Sag is good energy. They can be a lot sometimes, but they're very good energy. They make me happy. So we have our biblio for our book readings. We have our dice for dice readings. I have not learned dice reading traditionally yet, but I play by Yahtzee rules. It still works pretty okay. Eventually, one of these days, I'll do the dice. But this is the part now where you get to ask me questions. We've got 50 minutes. You can ask me anything. This is our quieter stream, so you can feel free to ask me multiple questions. I don't really care. How's your week going to go? How is Steph's week going to go? Alright, Steph, by shutting down part of the site, he is forcing you onto a more fruitful ground. For the present, it does no harm to follow his directions and see if he can lead us to the compass we seek. And there's literally a picture of a bull, and I know that you're a Taurus. So this could just be eclipse season, like, redirecting you a little bit right now. And it's okay to ride with it, and just kind of roll with the punches this week. I think that's what the question is. To be super specific, Brune wants to know... yeah, Ellie. Since I'm just looking at books and stuff, it doesn't quite wear me out the way that it does May with tarot and stuff, because I'm not digging through spiritual drawers right now. I'm just getting basically an overview of things. So yeah, feel free to ask. Hey Bun Bun, how you doing? How you doing? Let's see. So to be super specific, I want to know whether or not my bestie will reply or text me between the 17th and the 23rd. For the game, can we check with dice and the Morning Star? Yeah, let's do the book first. That it's that part, not the other part. Hang on. Okay. I could see two pinhole eyes fixing mine in an iron stare, Brune. The figure's dry, narrow lips didn't move, but its voice demanded to be told where the lion was hidden. I didn't know what it meant, so I didn't answer. It asked again, and then again more instantly. I tried to say that I didn't understand the question, but it kept repeating the words, each time driving them deeper into my mind. I didn't know what it wanted, so I gave it the only thought I had. The creature seemed to consider these unspoken images, then let out a rasping breath and was gone. I was too late getting to my feet to see properly, but I felt the blast of hot dust that beating wings kicked up as he rose away from me. I guess it could be that you hear from a person. That sounds like a lot to be just hearing from somebody, but let's see. Pretty sure with most spiritual stuff that the meaning we ascribe is what it means, aka the dice mean what you interpret them to mean. Yeah, and I mean it works that way, but I would like to, like, since my boy does dice, I would like to be able to do dice the traditional way if I can figure out how to do that, just because it sounds fun, right? The last thing was Brune's same question. Will they hear back? Will they hear back? 3, 5, 6. I'm gonna keep the... Let's see. 2, 2. I don't know. It's a maybe. It might be either this time or right after, and with that reading that I gave you, I worry that the answer might not be what you want to hear. But as long as you're okay with maybe not getting what you want straight away, those 6s are pretty okay. Okay, where was I? So let's see. Just waking up, Bibliomancy, want to know what my spirit partner has to say. Go for the book that I am drawn to. Okie dokie. Okay, let's see what we've got for... First it's Pleiades, then we have Chocolates, then we have Ellie, and then Bun Bum. Hold tight. Yep, you got 2 2s and 2 6s, so look into those. Spirit partner, a book that you are drawn to. Let's talk about the Pharaoh's Gate. For Pleiades, what does the spirit partner have to say? Alright, Pleiades, I realize how unbelievably hard it will be for you to depart your home, and I do not underestimate your sacrifice. I only hope when you leave, you have an easier passage than I did while trying to reach their destination. Can you get a message from your spirit guides? You certainly may, Chocolates. All right, this is Chocolates. Chocolate spirit guide, let's go. Message from your spirit guides. Are you working through something right now, Chocolates? If you have anything that you're working for or working on, it says this last year's going to be tough. I can already feel the muscles in my brain tightening in anticipation. So things might get a little bit more difficult for you for a while, but know that this book series has a happy ending, so I am trusting that you will also. The wooden dice look yummy. Yes, they do. They are a gift from Blood Type when they went on a trip. They are local trees from where they bought them for me. Yeah, Brune, I think all signs are pointing to yes to you for what you've been talking about, but I think that it might come with those challenges at first, right? Like, yes, this is a really good week for communication, but there's a lot of room for emotion. So you might have to be able to like step back and not let your feelings get the better of you, or your friend might have to step back and not let her feelings get the better of her. Things like that, right? There was one more. It was Ellie. Alright, so next up we have Ellie, Bibliomancy. How is F? Is he good? And then it will be you, Bun Bum. I'm not looking at chat right now while I answer this, since I am a little bit behind in it. Let's ask about F. Para Ellie. Ellie, I can't begin to say how much more alive I am on days when I receive a card or a letter from you. That F might want you to reach out if you don't talk very often. Or maybe if you do talk very often, hearing from you helps. Okay. Question from Bun Bun. I have a question of how I can help the nature in my... How can I help the nature of my communication with the massive construction pushing through it? Oof, good question. Let's see. Let's do Alexandria. For Bun Bun, what do we do about nature? How do we help? Alright, Bun Bun. It says, this is based off of the location that things are in, but it says events in Alexandria are progressing and it is likely the pace will increase. The Zealots were bound to put some pressure on Matthew, but you mustn't be concerned. Sabine is more than able to guide him through the initial dangers, just as she once nurtured me through my tribulations. Absorb your professor's preoccupations, read his books, and keep the griffin close to you. So what I'm reading this as is less absorb, the information and stuff, but like, you've learned what you should do. You know what you should do, now it's time to apply it, right? Help the nature in your community, so like, maybe start a garden, or, take some clippings and help along with that, or like, try to like, spread the word about like, preserving nature and such. Biblio question. First, hi books. Second, what am I doing right in my career so far? Any advice with finances? From Willybug. Watch your bank. Let's see. What am I doing right with my career? Fly as swiftly as you're able. His resources are far from limitless. I don't like that though. Let's get some more information. Do you want to work with somebody or anything? Like, what are you thinking for your career? It says, the possibility dawned on me that our dreams were not separate but joined, that maybe we do not have dreams, dreams have us. It frightened me, but a truth rarely remains a threat for long, and eventually the idea seemed to become almost reassuring. So it sounds to me like you are doing the right thing, and then the other ones just said, just be careful with your finances, like, be aware. Right? Dice divination. Okay, now I can catch up with chat. Here we go. 1 more year, finish school. Okay, so then chocolates, it sounds like that year might be hard, but you will get through it. Hang in there. Very sweet. You are very welcome, Ellie. Anything for the dice from me? If you have a yes or no, take your time. I enjoy the visuals from the books a lot. Yeah, I love these books. This is the Griffin and Sabine series. There's 3 more that are the start, but they're in a suitcase in Seattle, so I have to get those later. But they're by Nick Bantock, and it's like a whole story through correspondence, so you get like postcards and letters and things like that. And it's very interactive and textile. I love this series. No challenge or hard times in the motive, at least for me. Anything from the dice? Let's see what we got. Hey Jazzy, how you doing, hon? Welcome in. Anything from the dice for Pleiades? I can do like a good vibe or bad vibe. Let's see. And merece, Ellie. Siempre merece. 5, 5, 5, 6. Alright, so what I'm being called to tell you to do right now, since Brune has numerology on my brain, Pleiades, look up 555. See what's going on with that. As your spirit partner, let's do a yes or no for that one. Is your spirit partner going to do anything to help you? Yeah, they'll help. You got your 555 again, right? And I did flip them. So you got 555 again. Focus on this, but then you got a full house. I hope you my Google today. That's fine. And you are welcome, Willie. And then Pleiades, for you, Brune found 555 with the random kinetic energy of divination. Spiritually, it calls a major rapid life change, eclipse season, a call to embrace personal freedom and an alignment with a higher path. So if it's 555, your spirit guides might want you to, like, they're here to help you. I think they are here to help you, but they might want you to, like, choose some of your own path without consulting them necessarily every single time. That would be how I read the 555, but I will let you read it how you want to. Yes, thank you, Jazzy. These are a lovely gift. You're welcome, Pleiades, always. And these are a gift from Blood Type. They went on a trip a few weeks ago, and they got some dice made out of the local trees. You may certainly ask, Jazzy. Ask me anything. And Blood Type wants to know, can I get some kind of message of hope or otherwise helpful message from my spirit team or something? Yes, let's look at Morningstar. That is the culmination. Let's take a look. What have we got? It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. You got this lovely picture of a lion. Seems apt for Leo season. On a map. Somewhere. It might be Greece. Alright, that's a message of hope. Alright, I'm gonna read you this whole one, because it seems apt if you've been struggling lately. Alright, so Blood Type. When I arrived here on Crete, I had a vision of riding aboard a cat through the ruins of Knossos. Yesterday, I visited that palace where the Minotaur's labyrinth was housed. Griffin once spoke of it in a card to Sabine. I remember because he said that Perseus slew the Minotaur, but his classical mythology was shaky. It was Theseus who cut down the poor creature. I always felt sorry for the Minotaur. Was it not bad enough for that starving half-bull, half-man to be eternally trapped in a maze? That's where I've spent most of my life, caught in a mausoleum of self-imposed doubt. Now I feel free of restriction. Each morning I go down to the beach and race the Persian tide line, knowing myself for what I've become. I'm a sentient animal running wildly towards the fire that blazes atop the Pharaoh's lighthouse. A fresh wind is coming down from the southeast, bringing with it your scent. The hint of your presence sears my blood. The small gray clouds that specked the horizon have been blown away, and the air is clear. I love you. So there you go. That seems like a really good message to hear right now. Will the person on my mind possibly break the silence? Yep. Hold tight 1 second, Brune. Let me see what Jazzy says. Will the person on your mind possibly break the silence? Yes, but it might not be what you want. Jazzy, it says, I just received a visit from a bony, hawk-like person who introduced himself as an associate of Mr. Victor Ferlati, who is the main villain of this story. He wanted to know where you were, etc. It says, tread carefully. So just be careful. Again, this is kind of like, I don't know, you came in a little bit late, Jazzy, but there's a lot of room for... There's some good aspects happening this week, but the bad aspects are kind of rough as far as astrology goes. There's a lot of room for being misleading and stuff, so tread carefully. Just make sure you have all of the information before you proceed with things when this person comes back, okay? Alright, reading right, just kind of laugh out loud. People at the poll stare hard. Well, you know, I'm a funny little guy. What can I say? Reading Rainbow. Alright, Brune. You got more doubles. You got 3, 3, 4, 4. Can I make it a full house? Nope, not yet. Nope, no full house. So look up double 3 and double 4. You are welcome, Jazzy. You mentioned that song earlier, Shake It Out. I listened to the lyrics carefully and I got the message that I can let go of the past or it will make my life harder. Absolutely. Like, there is so much growth to be had when you just, like, let go of stuff that has bothered you for years. Oh my god. Like, I'm still not even done, but I'm, like, in the process of letting go of some, like, things that I've held for most of my life, and oh my god, it is such a relief to just go, you know what? I don't actually care. Huge, huge feeling. Huge release. It is always darkest before the dawn. I do like that song a lot. Brune on the Twitch side is talking about Shake It Out by Florence and the Machine. If anyone needs a pep talk, it's in that song. I would say Shake It Out and Dog Days Are Over. Alright, my dears, what else have we got during our lull? I believe I am caught up on questions. If I have missed your question, go ahead and repost it, because I probably didn't see it. The chat got kind of busy. Go ahead and repost it, and while we are talking, I will say, if you go to Ko-fi, if you want to tip, you please feel free to leave a tip, but if you do not have that, that is okay. You're so late you don't even know where to start, honey, it's okay. You're fine. You want to do your dice roll, Sen? What was I going to say? Yep. Question for me, what should I focus on this week? Hello, Sen, from Lady Lapine, but that's in the chat that you know. Huh. Oh, this pumpkin. Hang on, sorry. I'm distracted. I'm feeling silly today. That is pumpkin. I like it. Anyway, so I'm Mercury dominant. I'm extremely Mercury dominant, and Jupiter and Mercury just went conjunct like we talked about, so I have a case of the sillies today. I'm feeling goofy. Oof. Bruin, I think you need to go over to the YouTube side to tell people. What should you focus on this week? You might have some nostalgia stuff going on. Sitting in the professor's study this morning, I was caught off guard by a strong aroma of vanilla issuing from the kitchen. Otherwise, we can make a cake, I guess, this week, sure. But it took me straight back to my grandmother's house when I was no more than 6 years old. Be careful of the guilt-tripping stuff that I was warning you about, Lady Lapine, given what I know about family, but, like, it might be good to just talk. What was really odd, though, was that the scent memories didn't stop when they reached the present. They kept on going into the future, where I breathed in the desert air of Alexandria and the distinct odor of lion's mane. I love you. I would just... I don't know. Maybe you need to talk about... YouTube chat is bugged. I can't see it. What the heck? I've got the chat moving. Can you... refreshing? We do love silly. Yep, I got the goofies today. Jupiter make me giggly. How is astrology doing? Better or worse? Or the usual better nor worse? I will post the... Here, Sin. I know that you're having trouble with Discord. So, Sin, this is... This is my work email. I will send me a message on an email and I will send you the notes as far as this week goes, since your Discord is being a pain in the butt. Yep, Broombot came over to say that they will match the tips if you throw some cash my way. Tell me more about questions that you have. Astrology is doing better or worse. There's a couple of squares. There's a square and an opposition that I don't like throughout the week, but the astrology overall is, hello, it's eclipse season, so everybody's exhausted. And then, there might be instances where you're called to have a deeper conversation that maybe you need to have all of your ducks in a row first before you have. Brune, G! Hi. So, how is things going? It will be okay. Then on the bad days, there were also some other things happening around it that was like really supportive, so I think it'll be okay. It's just the astrology this week is take your time. You will be given information, but it will not be the whole picture, and you have to find the whole picture before you get the right instincts to answer. Or you get the right answer. Something like that. A lot of tough transits going through my 10th house and Pluto hanging out over my 8th house for a while. Yep. If your 8th house is Aquarius, oh boy. For what it's worth, my 9th house is the Aquarius house, so I have it just... Pluto's coming through and just... all of my plans are going to dust. All of my travel plans. All of everything. It's all just going to dust. But I am excited for Virgo season. That means that mine and May's birthdays are coming up. Very excited. Don't have any plans specifically yet. Pluto is in the planning house after all. But it is exciting. I do like a birthday. What else have we got? Don't forget to like the video if you're on the YouTube side. Sub if you need to on both sides. Tip your server if you can. If you can't, that's okay. And then there are commissions available in the commissions tab on the Ko-fi page. There's also coloring books now. Miss May's been making coloring books. That's been fun. It's in September. Our birthdays are in September. Oh, yay! Thank you, staff. I am still live. You've got me for another 25 minutes, honey. You got me for another 25 minutes. So if you've got some astrology, if you got some book questions to ask, you can ask them. If you've got some star questions to ask, I reckon you can ask those too. We got some dice. We can ask the dice, yes or no stuff. Or Brune's been doing numerology with the dice, which I think is fun. So if you want me to just like roll some dice and you look up what the numbers mean, feel free. Yep, shop items and commissions both count towards donations. It's true. We're just looking to make a living. That's it. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? I don't know. Oh, I was gonna say if you get the birth chart reading, it might be a minute because I've got a book to edit. But there is at the very bottom our budget option, which is the bibliomancy questions, where you can ask me anytime, not just on a Sunday. And it's $5, and I usually can turn that around pretty freaking quick, honestly. Hayan derecho! And that's okay, Brune. Thank you, darling. Just did that. Oh,
this is working.
Well, now it does. I don't know. May had to come and touch it.
I had to touch it, okay.
Had to touch it. The mic has a favorite. It's May. Because I unplugged and replugged it, but no. The question is, how do you support your growth? All right, let me see. All right, let's see. Where am I? What am I doing? We had the tip. We had a question. Can you ask the dice? Did Ellie put in their question? ¿Cuál es tu pregunta, Ellie? Did not mute myself. The mic just decided that it missed Lady Lapine. Here I am again. Question is, how do I support my growth? We'll look at Morningstar since that seems like a very good growth supporter. Let's find out, Yandere. I think it's right here. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yandere, we have. She has passed into Luxor and is luminous. You will have begun to experience an alteration in our relationship brought about by Isabella's arrival. I have not left you, but she must be allowed to enter without distraction. This new union can have no muddling of animus and anima. Your body must reflect a quiet singularity of purpose, or her hunger will overwhelm you. You've been stretched, taut, and your release is imminent. Do not discard this opportunity. Let go your apprehension, your limitations, and your fears. Embrace the lioness or drown in an ocean of ice and endless ignorance. Now, I don't think it's going to be that big, but you gotta lean into that big Leo energy. That's what I'm seeing. Question, how do you support? Should I reread my favorite book series or start a new one waiting to be read? All right, let's see. I'm gonna roll 1 for you, Bun Bum. And if it's the higher number, because you've reread it, this is gonna be the reread. If it's the lower number, or if it's a lower number, so we'll say 1 to 3, That's the new series because you haven't read it yet. 3. So read the new series. Numerology for the week, please. Numerology for the week. We've got 2 4s. Can I get another 4 in the roll? How many 4s do we get? We do not. We got another 3, 3, 4, 4 stuff. So look up 33 and 44. Has my journey ended so I can start anew, or do I still have lessons to learn in my hermit mode, isolation of self-learning? We'll do the dice. We'll do the same thing. The lower the number, we'll say the fewer lessons to learn, and the higher the number, we need to sit there and start working on those lessons some more. I did say 33, 44, my dear. You got a 5, so we're still working on lessons. So this is your reminder that healing isn't linear. Right? This is the reminder that you might take a step back, and that's okay. You are welcome, Yandere. Someone in spirit gave me healing last night. No idea who it was. That's fine. Just be glad and appreciative, and tell the spirit thank you, and the message will get to where it needs to go. Thank you for answering your mundane question. Absolutely, anytime. All right. Steph Brune says, in number magic, a pair of 3 means growth, luck, and strong energy, and a pair of 4 means a solid base, hard work, and safety. Both numbers point. Learn my lessons in solitude. There might be some more lessons, is what I was reading, right? There might be a couple more that you need to work through. Like, you might think you're further along, and you might be that far along, but something happens, right? And something makes you take a step back, right? There's still a little bit more to do, and that's okay. And if you reconnect now, that's going to be okay too, but you might still have some stuff that you need to work on in your own time, right? Like, because you theoretically, you know, if everything goes according to Keikaku, you're going to reconnect with your best friend and you can start being friends again. But that doesn't mean that you stop working on yourself by yourself, right? That's what I was reading. That lesson number as well. Sure, the higher the number, the more lessons to learn. Nope, I'm not going to say 5 again. We got a 3. So, Steph, the lessons, that's a 3. So there's still some, but you're a little more, you're pretty far along. As a Pisces, you know it's not slow. Exactly. The thing with that though is that we want to be careful to not let yourself get burned, right? Like, I love that you want to love so hard, right? And I love that you do love so hard. But we want to be careful. Want me to accept the idea of reconnecting slowly. Let her take her pace, yeah. But like, you do what you feel comfortable with, but also be willing to give her the room that she needs in that reconnection. Can I get a roll for my week coming up? According to Keikaku. Yeah, Yandere gets me. A roll for the week coming up. Mm-hmm. You got 4 1s. 11, 11. Make a wish. It's a joke, Brune. It's an old meme. So when you like translate things, or like when you get fan translations and the subtitles of animes, there's a whole discourse about like how much needs to be translated or how much needs to, you know, be like kept in context of the Japanese, possibly with like a little disclaimer asterisk to explain what they're talking about. But sometimes the translations are just funny. And there's one, it's a really famous one from Death Note. And it's Light saying that everything is going according to plan. But they didn't translate plan. They decided to write it, yes, everything is going according to Keikaku. And they put an asterisk beside it, and then underneath it, it says translator's note, Keikaku means plan. Never mind the phrase, everything is going according to plan, exists in English. And it's extremely funny. Right in the Kokoro. Absolutely, Yandere. Additional question. Did the Emperor entity stop me from passing over? We'll stay. Hang on, I didn't give it a framework. Lower number, no. Higher number, yes. Maybe? I don't think it would have been detrimental. It's only a 4. It might have just been like a temporary transition if you did. Maybe like an astral projection kind of thing that got blocked. I think you were okay though. Yeah, Bum remembers. Can you get a roll for your week? Yes, people die when they are killed. Wow! Who knew? A roll for Sun's week. We've got 2 5s. Oh, did I see 2 3s? I don't remember. That wasn't for that then. Another 5. You've got 4 5s to look up. I think it's a pretty good week though. This looks pretty positive just as far as like if the higher numbers are better and the lower numbers are weak. We've got all 5 are on the higher end, so we've got a 4 and 4 5s. Which just kind of is like 2 4s basically and 4 5s. So that's a lot of numbers. I'm not very good at numbers. After the stream, do you want to look into video work? Oh, I'll just look into it in my own time. It's okay. I tend to do these kinds of things over email better, so I have a second if I need to. I can't. If I need to look something up, I don't want to keep people waiting up. So I'll just send you a break. Yeah, Pleiades, so what might have happened wasn't necessarily passing away, but just like a dissociation that they helped you avoid, right? I'm sorry you're having a heartbreak, though. At the time as well. That does help a lot, actually, Bryn. That is exactly what I wanted, because I'm most interested in your rising sign. Because that tells me then what sign is going into what house, so I can see what's affecting it, right? Any more questions? We've got 13 minutes. I'm happy to answer more questions. We can keep talking. We can do dice. We can do books. We can do stars. Whatever. Pisces, Sun, and Rising Aquarius. Okay. So the North Node is fixing to be going through, is in, depending on which sign you use. It's either at the very top. Wait. No matter what, it's going through your first house right now. Okay. Cool. Never mind that answer. Okay. Never minding that answer. Google is dumb. What else y'all got? Anything good going on this week? How's eclipse season handling you? If we're looking at numerology, Brune's been on it for us, rolling 4 5s, and the dice symbolism of claromancy merges the core energy of the number 5, representing major life changes, freedom, transformation, and sensory experience. With a quadruple amplification, signaling a chaotic yet liberating turning point, sudden shifts, and a call to adapt with an open mind. That just feels like eclipse season. Numerology message from the dice. Yeah, and that's just heartbreak, right? Like, if you... That's just the nature of things, right? Like, I don't think your heart would have stopped beating, but you might have just kind of retreated into yourself for a while. I think that would have been how it works. Just, you know, it's just heartbreak. Heartbreak sucks. You don't want to exist for a while. You need to take a break, check out for a while, right? That's kind of the vibe that I was getting from that. Numerology message from the dice. Alright, Yandere. I'm just gonna roll this one once. Just because it seems to be done. So you got 2 6s. So Yandere, I want you to look up 2 6s, and then you got a 3 4 5. Is your question with AdSense fixed, or is it something else? Maybe thumbnails. Man, if they make you change your thumbnails, I will riot. I will absolutely riot if they make you change your thumbnails. Let's see. Is AdSense fixed? My number is yes. Number is 5. Clips hasn't affected me as heavily, just been contemplative. The last Mercury retro. Oh my god, the last Mercury retrograde. Jesus Christ. That was so rough. A double 6 dice roll symbolizes supreme good fortune, material rivalry, a confidence, and the successful culmination of a high-risk endeavor. In traditional claromancy and numerology, rolling double 6s amplifies the themes of the number 6, balance, home, health, and responsibility, elevating them to a powerful peak of positive energy and achievement. So if we look at it that way, or you can find whichever answers you prefer, Yandere, but just thinking about it that way, it sounds like you're... One, you posted an event the other day, and we're having a very hard time. And just based off of the messages that I've been getting for you today, it sounds like the light is coming at the end of the tunnel. Spider Bee Yandere, thank you. You're actually a bot right now. When I'm not sleeping, I seem to be being productive. Progressive numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and 6, 6 will be looked up. Perfect. Yay! Thank you. Worried my thumbnails are making me mark me as repetitive contact. Man, it better not be. Like I said, I will riot. That is perfect. What if you just change like 1 pixel? What if we just change 1 pixel? That's so much extra work if you have to change those thumbnails. Ugh. Bleh. AdSense. Yes, sir, Bryn. What's up? But I fixed 1 problem this morning, so fingers crossed. Okay, that's good. And you are so welcome, Yandere. Thank you for all your support. I really appreciate it. Does the Emperor entity have anything else to say? One second. Pleiades wants to know if the Emperor has anything else to say. Excuse me, y'all. Emperor Energy says be careful. Just be careful and be aware. And then... I believe that you and I were born inside each other like changelings inverted within a prism. You have always needed someone to love and cherish you, so you imagined me. And the more I became real to you, the more you needed me to be real. But that frightened you and you thought yourself crazy. What you did not understand was that the person you had imagined already existed. Your world is real and so is mine, but they are not the same. We need to balance our souls and come to terms with our opposite selves, as so few are able. So just take care of yourself. Be careful. You should text. Oh, thank you, Ellie. I missed it. Good. My good luck is bad or good based on the number. Huh? What do you mean, Bryn? Do you want a high number for good luck and a low number for bad luck? What do you want? Changing 1 pixel is so funny. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Ellie. Yes. Okay, here we go. To the dice. Sorry. My bad. We'll do, let's see. Should... Hey, Cherry. How you doing, hun? Ellie, ask if they should text if I forgot to ask. I appreciate the reminder. Immediately, the answer is yes, because you got a small straight. Let's see if we can make it even. Not quite, but I think it'll work out well. You got the same roll almost as Yandere. You got 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6 is a yes. Maybe the 6, 6 to me is reading as it will work out well. I hope they can be reasonable with this. God send me to, yeah, May looped me in on how this has been going, and it's like, just It's not bad, nothing is going wrong, but it's just very nitpicky and obnoxious. Okay, so you want me to do my... I see. Okay, yeah, sure, Burn. Good luck or bad luck? It'll be good, but not flawless. You got 2 4s, 2 3s, and then the 6 again. So I wasn't able, if I were reading it just off of my Yahtzee rules, the way that I read dice usually, I would say that it didn't finish the thought. Right, so good luck, yes, it just isn't going to be exactly what you expect, it won't be perfect. You're okay, Cherry, I hope you slept well. These are wooden dice. Blood type gave them to me as a gift after they got back from a trip. It is made of the local woods of where they visited. It's beautiful. And you are so welcome, Ellie. Yes is all I needed to hear. Yes, it is good to hear yes, but just be aware that things might not be perfect. So it won't go, again, it won't go exactly according to Keikaku, like we have discussed, but it should be good. Ultimately, it will work. Yeah, they are huge. Expect the unexpected, exactly. I'm just happy as far as we are now. Yes, I too am. I am too. Glad the dice are so well loved. Yeah, isn't it sweet? I like them a lot too. I understand why they have to be nitpicky, but we all know they don't. Exactly. Exactly, son. Yeah. Very homemade and made with love. I love them a lot. And they feel good too, since they've been sanded down. Yeah, if they were nitpicky on good faith, that would be one thing then, right? But I know that they're not necessarily nitpicky in good faith, so it frustrates me. Ah, gracias, Ellie. That's very kind. Muy amable. Alright. 3-minute mark. Anything else before we wrap it up? We're almost done. The week looks pretty good. Just be careful because emotions might get the better of you. I think that's the summary of this week of like, we're still in eclipse season, so you might get smacked with a surprise. Of course, always. Like we might get hit by something that's a bit of a surprise, or we might have an emotional reaction to something, but if we can keep that balance, if we can keep our head on straight, or as close to straight as we can get it, I think it'll be okay, right? That's kind of the whole vibe for this week of like, you will have a conversation, something might say something that like catches you off guard and makes you want to react, but if you can go, okay, hang on. Hold on, let me think about this for a minute. And then you think about it, right? I think it'll help. Progressive numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indicate growth of 66, yep. Dice have that fancy look. It's true. It's true. So I set them out the week after blood type gave me. I set them out to my little section on my altar for Mercury or Hermes, depending on what you want to call him. I said, hey, let's use these. And he seemed to do, okay. Natural and Have a great day. You too, Steph. One last message from the Pharaoh. Yep, we can do that. Or Brune. From Pharaoh's Gate. Let's see. Here you go, Brune. So until you found me, I was ice. Now I feel the pulsing beneath my feet, feeding a tattoo towards my soul. Okay. Enjoy your Sunday. You're taking a nap now? Very good. Very good, Bun Bun. Take a nap. Your cat jumped on me. Very good. I was just reading about for the part where they mentioned the name of the cat. That's enough. Very good. That's all you needed to hear, you swear? That's fine. Don't worry about it, honey. Alrighty, my dears. So we are at time. Ellie, I always enjoy the dissection. Very fun indeed. Distracted from number 66. That's fine. Tell me what you find out if you want to, hun. What else? So, don't forget on the YouTube side to like the video and subscribe if you need to. I come on every Sunday with astrology for the week and bibliomancy, as time permits, if the astrology for the week isn't too hectic like it was last week. If you go onto the Ko-fi, you can find the commissions tab. You can buy a little personal biblio reading if you want to. You can also buy a star reading if you would like. However, it will be a minute before I can get to it, as I have an entire book to edit. So, on that note, I will end it here. We will be back on the main Lady Lapine channel tomorrow evening for our late tarot stream. And before that, tomorrow during our regular tarot slot time, we will be on the art channel. So that is at Lady Lapine Art on the YouTube. On the Twitch, it's all the same. So, everybody take care of yourselves. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day all. And to you, the pool remains relatively empty, so I shall stay a while. All right. If anyone needs a candle, let me translate that for Steph. If anyone need a candle later, at her on Discord. Let know if you need. Have a great day, everybody, too. Have a beautiful Sunday. I will see y'all nerds later. Take care of yourself. And goodbye. See you tomorrow.